Jake Morrison wiped the grease from his hands and looked at the broken air filter in front of him. The mining station Kepler 7 was old, and something always needed fixing. He had been working on the station for 3 years now, ever since he left Earth. The pay was good, and nobody asked too many questions about his past. The station floated in space around a planet full of valuable metals. Ships came and went every day, bringing supplies and taking away the minerals they dug up. Jake kept the machines running. It was quiet work, and he liked it that way. His radio buzzed. "Jake, we got a supply ship coming in. Can you check the cargo bay?" It was Carlos, his boss. "Sure thing," Jake said into the radio. He put down his tools and walked through the metal hallways to the cargo bay. The station hummed around him with the sound of air pumps and generators. The supply ship was already docked when he got there. The pilot, a big man named Pete, was unloading boxes with the help of 2 station workers. "How's it going, Jake?" Pete called out. "Same as always," Jake replied. He started checking the boxes against the supply list. Food, spare parts, medical supplies. Everything looked normal. Then he heard something. A small sound, like someone trying not to cry. It came from behind a stack of metal pipes near the back of the bay. Jake stopped what he was doing. The other men were busy talking and didn't notice. He walked slowly toward the sound. Behind the pipes, curled up in a ball, was something Jake had never seen before. It looked like a person but covered in silver fur. It had large eyes that reflected the light and pointed ears that twitched when it heard him coming. The creature looked up at him. It was clearly female and clearly terrified. She had cuts on her arms and her fur was dirty. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. "Don't hurt me," she whispered in broken English. "Please." Jake looked around. The other men were still busy. He knelt down slowly, keeping his hands where she could see them. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said quietly. "What's your name?" "Zara," she said. Her voice was soft and scared. "How did you get here, Zara?" She pointed to the supply ship. "I hide. My world. Gone. Bad people destroy everything. I run." Jake understood. He had heard about the wars in the outer systems. Whole planets were being attacked and destroyed. The refugees had nowhere to go. "Are you hurt?" he asked. She nodded and showed him a cut on her arm. It was deep and looked infected. Jake made a decision that would change both their lives. "Stay here," he told her. "I'll be right back." He walked back to where Pete and the others were finishing up. "Hey, Pete, everything looks good here. Thanks for the delivery." "No problem, Jake. See you next month." Pete and his crew left the station. Jake waited until the supply ship was gone, then went back to Zara. She hadn't moved. "Come with me," he said. "I know someone who can help with that cut." She shook her head. "They will send me away. I have no papers, no place to go." "Not if I can help it," Jake said. He held out his hand. After a moment, she took it. Jake led her through the back hallways of the station, avoiding the main areas, where people might see them. His quarters were small but clean. He had a bed, a desk, and a tiny kitchen. "Sit," he told her, pointing to a chair. She sat down, still looking scared. Jake opened his first aid kit and cleaned the cut on her arm. She winced but didn't pull away. As he worked, she told him her story in simple words. Her people were called the Velteran. They lived on a peaceful world far from Earth. They were good at making maps of space and finding safe paths between the stars. Then the Korthak Empire came. They destroyed everything and killed most of her people. "I was on a ship," she said. "We try to escape. Pirates attack us. I hide in cargo container. I don't know how I get to your ship." Jake finished bandaging her arm. "The Korthak Empire," he said. "I've heard of them. They're bad news." Just then, someone knocked on Jake's door. He looked at Zara, who went very still. "Jake, you in there?" It was Captain Park, the station commander. Jake opened the door just enough to show his face. "Yes, Captain?" "We had a report of something unusual in the cargo bay. Someone thought they saw movement after the supply ship left." "Just some loose cargo," Jake said. "I took care of it." Captain Park looked at him for a long moment. She was a smart woman and didn't miss much. Jake, if there's something I should know about, nothing to worry about, Captain, just doing my job. She nodded slowly. All right, but Jake, remember that harboring unregistered aliens is against colonial law. If someone were doing that, they could face serious trouble. I understand, Captain. After she left, Jake turned back to Zara. She was shaking. She knows, Zara said. They will take me away. Jake sat down across from her. He thought about his own past, about the family he had lost in the war, about how he had run away to this station to hide from his pain. He looked at this frightened girl who had lost everything just like he had. No, he said firmly. They won't take you away. I promise. But even as he said it, Jake knew that keeping that promise would be harder than fixing any broken machine on the station. 2 weeks after Jake found Zara, the station faced its first big crisis. Carlos burst into Jake's workshop early in the morning, his face full of worry. Jake, we got a problem. The medical supply ship didn't show up yesterday. It's 3 days. Late now? Jake looked up from the engine part he was fixing. Maybe they just got delayed? No, we tried to contact them, nothing. Captain Park thinks pirates got them somewhere in the asteroid field. Jake felt his stomach drop. The station needed those medical supplies. Dr. Chen was already running low on important medicines, and there were 40 people living on the station. What's the plan? Jake asked. Park wants to send out a search team, but it's dangerous. That asteroid field has been crawling with pirates lately. We could lose more people. Jake thought about Zara back in his quarters. She had been getting stronger every day, and yesterday she had shown him some of her old star maps on his computer screen. She knew this area of space better than anyone. Carlos, what if I told you we might have someone who could help find a safe path through that asteroid field? Carlos raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Jake made a decision. Come with me. I need to show you something. They walked to Jake's quarters. Jake knocked on his own door in a special pattern he had taught Zara. She opened it carefully, then stepped back when she saw Carlos. It's okay, Jake told her. Carlos is my friend, he won't hurt you. Carlos stared at Zara with wide eyes. Jake, what the hell is this? Her name is Zara. She's a refugee from the outer systems. And Carlos, she's a stellar cartographer. She knows these space lanes better than our computers do. Zara looked nervously between the two men. Jake, you said no one else should know. No, but people are in danger. That medical ship is lost somewhere in the asteroid field. People might die if we can't find them. Carlos sat down heavily in Jake's chair. Jake, do you know what you've done? Hiding an unregistered alien is a serious crime. I know, Jake said. But look at her, Carlos. She's not dangerous. She's just scared and alone. Carlos studied Zara for a long moment. You really know how to navigate that asteroid field? Zara nodded. I have mapped many paths through it. There are safe routes, but they change because the asteroids move. I would need to see current sensor data to find the best path. Carlos rubbed his face with his hands. This is crazy. Park is going to kill us all. Maybe, Jake said. Or maybe we save lives and show everyone that Zara deserves to stay here. An hour later, Jake and Carlos stood in Captain Park's office with Zara between them. Park stared at the three of them like they had lost their minds. Let me understand this, Park said slowly. Jake, you've been hiding an alien refugee in your quarters for 2 weeks. Carlos, you knew about this and didn't report it. And now you both want me to trust this person to guide a rescue mission through the most dangerous part of local space. Yes, Captain, Jake said. That's exactly what we want. Park looked at Zara. And you think you can find this ship? I can try, Zara said quietly. I know 3 safe paths through the field. If the ship is lost, it is probably on one of them. And if you're wrong, if you lead our people into a trap, Zara's ears drooped. Then I will have failed people who showed me kindness. I do not want that. Park walked to her window and looked out at the stars. Jake, do you understand that what you've done could get you sent to prison? Yes, Captain. And you still think this is the right thing to do? Jake looked at Zara, who was trying hard not to show how scared she was. Yes, I do. Park was quiet for a long time. Finally, she turned around. The medical ship has been missing for 4 days. Our people need those supplies. If there's even a small chance this could work. She sighed. Jake, you'll pilot the rescue shuttle. Zara will be your navigator. But if this goes wrong, all 3 of us will face the consequences. 2 hours later, Jake and Zara sat in the cockpit of a small maintenance shuttle. Jake had never flown through an asteroid field before, and his hands were sweating on the controls. Are you sure about this? He asked Zara. She was studying the sensor displays, her large eyes focused on the data. The first path is blocked by new asteroid movement, but the second path? Yes, I see it. Turn left 15 degrees. Jake followed. Her directions. The shuttle moved slowly between massive rocks floating in space. Some were as big as buildings, others as small as cars. All of them could destroy their little ship if they hit one. Pirates use this field to hide, Zara explained as she guided him. They think it is too dangerous for others to follow, but if you know the safe paths, you can surprise them. They flew for an hour, following Zara's directions through twists and turns that Jake never would have attempted on his own. Then Zara pointed at her screen. There, I see metal, a ship. Jake looked where she was pointing. Hidden behind a large asteroid was the medical supply ship. Its engines were dark and it wasn't moving. Are they alive? Jake asked. Zara adjusted the sensors. I detect life signs. 3 people, but their power is very low. Jake piloted the shuttle closer. The medical ship had been damaged, probably by pirates, but it hadn't been completely destroyed. They docked with the other ship and found 3 crew members who were hurt but alive. How did you find us? Asked the ship's captain, a woman named Beth. We've been sending distress signals for days. We had help, Jake said, looking at Zara with pride. The trip back to the station was easier because Zara now knew exactly which path was safe. When they docked at Kepler 7, Captain Park was waiting with Dr. Chen and a medical team. As the injured crew members were taken to the medical bay, Park pulled Jake and Zara aside. That was good work, she said. You saved 3 lives and recovered, supplies we desperately needed. Zara did most of it, Jake said. I just flew where she told me to go. Park looked at Zara with new respect. It seems you have valuable skills, young lady. I only want to help, Zara said. Well, you certainly did that today. Park paused. We'll need to discuss your status on this station. But after what you did today, I think we can find a way to make this work legally. That night, as Jake and Zara sat in his quarters sharing a meal, Zara looked happier than he had ever seen her. The people on the station, she said, they look at me differently now. How do you mean? Before they were afraid or suspicious. Now some of them smile at me. Dr. Chen said thank you. Carlos brought me a flower from the station garden. Jake smiled. That's because they see you for who you really are now, someone who helps others. But even as they celebrated their success, Jake knew that bigger challenges were coming. Word of Zara's existence would spread, and not everyone in the galaxy would be happy to learn that humans were protecting refugees from the war. The next morning, Jake woke up to find Zara sitting on the floor in the corner of his room. She had wrapped herself in a blanket and was staring at the door like she expected someone to come through at any moment. Did you sleep at all? Jake asked. She shook her head. Too scared. What if they come for me? Jake got up and made 2 cups of coffee. He handed one to Zara, who sniffed it carefully before taking a small sip. Her eyes went wide. This is good, she said, surprised. It's just coffee, Jake said with a small smile. Haven't you had it before? My people drink tea made from flowers. This is stronger. Jake sat down at his small table. Zara, I need to ask you something. What can you do? What kind of work did you have on your world? I make maps, she said. Maps of space. I show ships where to go safely between stars. Jake's eyebrows went up. Navigation specialists were valuable. especially out here in the dangerous parts of space. You're a stellar cartographer? Yes. I study the stars and the paths between them. I find the safe ways to travel. Jake thought about this. Maybe he could use her skills to help convince Captain Park to let her stay. But first he had to make sure she was safe. Listen, he said. I have to go to work today. You need to stay here and stay quiet. Don't answer the door for anyone. Where will you go? She asked, looking worried. I work fixing things around the station. Machines, air systems, power generators. Someone has to keep this place running. Jake gave her some food and showed her how to use the small screen in his room to watch movies or read. This will help you learn more English, he said. When Jake got to his workshop, Carlos was waiting for him with a frown on his face. Jake, Captain Park was asking about you yesterday. She thinks you might be hiding something. Jake kept his face calm. Nothing to hide, Carlos, just doing my job. Look, I like you, Jake. You're a good worker. But if you're in some kind of trouble, I'm fine, Jake said. He picked up his tools and started working on a broken water pump. Carlos watched him for a moment, then shrugged. All right, but be careful, Park doesn't miss much. Jake spent the morning fixing equipment around the station. Every time he saw Captain Park or one of her security people, his heart beat faster. But nobody asked him any questions. At lunchtime, he went back to his quarters. Zara was watching an old movie about space exploration. She looked up when he came in. I learned new words, she said proudly. Spaceship, stars, adventure. Good, Jake said. He sat down next to her. Zara, I think I might be able to help you stay here legally, but you need to help me understand something. When you made maps on your world, did you ever map this part of space? Her eyes lit up. Yes, this area is very dangerous. Many asteroid fields and strange gravity wells. Ships get lost here all the time. What do you know about the shipping routes around here? Zara was quiet for a moment, thinking. The main route goes around the big asteroid field, but there are 3 smaller paths through it that are faster. Most pilots don't know about them because they are not on the standard maps. Jake felt a spark of hope. Could you show these paths to other people? Of course, but I would need to see the current star charts and check for any changes. That afternoon, Jake went to see Dr. Amy Chen, the station's doctor. Amy was a kind woman who had always been friendly to him. Amy, I need to ask you a favor, Jake said. What kind of favor? She asked, looking up from her medical reports. If I brought someone to you who needed medical help, could you keep it quiet? Amy frowned. Jake, you know I have to report all medical treatments to Captain Park. What if it was someone who really needed help? Someone who might die without it? Amy looked at him carefully. Jake, what's going on? Jake made another decision that would change everything. I found someone, a refugee. She's hurt and scared, and if Park finds her, they'll send her away to die. Jake, that's against regulations. I know. But Amy, you became a doctor to help people, right? Not to follow rules that hurt innocent people. Amy was quiet for a long time. Finally, she sighed. Bring her to my office tonight after everyone else has gone to bed. I'll take a look at her. That night, Jake brought Zara to the medical bay. She was nervous about meeting another person, but Jake convinced her it was safe. Dr. Chen was gentle as she examined Zara's injuries. These cuts are infected, she said, and you're malnourished. When did you last have a proper meal? Many days ago, Zara said quietly. Dr. Chen gave her medicine for the infection and some vitamin supplements. Jake, she needs to eat more protein and get some rest. Her body has been through a lot. As they were leaving, Dr. Chen pulled Jake aside. Jake, I'll help her get better, but you know this can't last forever. Park will find out eventually. No, Jake said. I'm working on a plan. Over the next few days, Jake brought Zara to his workshop during quiet hours. He taught her about the station's systems while she helped him with small repairs. Her small hands could reach places his couldn't, and she was quick to learn. Your people are very smart, Jake told her one day as she successfully rewired a control panel. My people were smart, she corrected him sadly. Now there are very few of us left. Jake put down his tools. Zara, I want you to know something. What happened to your people was wrong. And what I'm doing now, helping you, it's not charity. You're already helping me too. How am I helping you? She asked. Jake thought about it. For the first time in years, he had a reason to get up in the morning besides just surviving. You remind me that there's still good in the universe worth protecting. That night, as Zara slept on a small cot Jake had gotten for her, he sat at his desk and started making plans. He had been running from his past for too long. Now he had someone counting on him, and he wasn't going to let her down. But he knew that soon, they would both have to face the hard truth about what it meant to be different in a universe that didn't always welcome strangers. 3 days after the rescue mission, Jake was working in the main engine room when the station's alarm system started blaring. Red lights flashed in the hallways, and Captain Park's voice came over the speakers. All station personnel report to emergency stations. We have an unscheduled visitor. Jake dropped his tools and ran to the observation deck. Through the thick glass windows, he could see a large, dark ship approaching the station. It was bigger than anything Jake had seen before, with sharp edges and weapon ports along its sides. Carlos appeared beside him, breathing hard. That's a Korthak warship, he said. What do they want here? Jake's blood went cold. The Korthak Empire was the same group that had destroyed Zara's homeworld. He ran toward his quarters, pushing past other station workers who were hurrying to their emergency positions. He found Zara sitting on his bed staring at his computer screen. She had been watching the news feeds from other systems, trying to learn what was happening in the war. Zara, we need to hide you, Jake said quickly. The Korthak are here. Her face went pale under her silver fur. They found me. I knew this would happen. No, maybe they don't know about you. Maybe they're here for something else. But even as Jake said it, he didn't believe it. The Korthak didn't come to human mining stations for friendly visits. Captain Park's voice came over the room's communication system. Jake Morrison, report to the command center immediately. Jake looked at Zara. Stay here. Lock the door. Don't let anyone in except me. The command center was full of nervous activity when Jake arrived. Captain Park stood at the main display talking to a Korthak officer whose face appeared on the screen. The alien had gray skin, sharp teeth, and cold yellow eyes. I don't care about your mining operations, human, the Korthak was saying. We are tracking dangerous criminals who escaped from our territory. We have information that one of them is on your station. I can assure you, Commander, that all personnel on this station are properly registered with colonial authorities, Captain Park replied. We will be the judge of that. Prepare to be boarded for inspection. The screen went dark. Park turned to face Jake and the other senior staff members who had gathered. Jake, I need to ask you directly. Is there anything on this station that the Korthak might be looking for? Jake felt everyone's eyes on him. He thought about Zara, alone and scared in his quarters. He thought about the promise he had made to protect her. Captain, if there was someone here who needed protection from the Korthak, what would you do? Park's eyes narrowed. Jake, answer my question. Is the alien you've been hiding from the Korthak Empire? The room went very quiet. Jake realized that Park had known about Zara all along but had chosen not to act until now. Yes, Jake said simply. Damn it, Jake. Park sat down heavily in her chair. Do you know what you've done? The Korthak Empire could destroy this entire station if we don't cooperate. So what do you want me to do? Hand over an innocent person to be killed? I want you to think about the 40 other people on this station who will die if the Korthak decide we're their enemies. Dr. Chen stepped forward. Captain, I've examined the refugee. She's not dangerous. She's just a girl who lost everything. That doesn't matter now, Park said. The Korthak are here, and they want her. Carlos spoke up. Captain, she saved 3 lives just a few days ago. She's proven herself to be valuable to our community, and now her presence might get us all killed, Park replied. The argument was interrupted by the sound of heavy footsteps in the corridor outside. The Korthak had arrived. Jake made a decision. I'll go get her. If they want her, they can take me too. Jake, no, Dr. Chen said. It's my fault she's here. I won't let her face this alone. But when Jake got back to his quarters, he found the door open and the room empty. Zara was gone. He ran through the station, checking every place he could think of. Finally, he found her in the cargo bay where he had first discovered her. She was standing in the middle of the open space, waiting. Zara, what are you doing? She turned to look at him, and he saw that she had been crying. I heard the announcement. I know why they are here. We can hide you. There are places on the station they'll never find. And then what, Jake? They will search forever. They will hurt the people here until someone tells them where I am. I cannot let that happen. Zara, no. I promised I would protect you. She walked over to him and took his hands in her small, furry ones. Jake, you did protect me. You gave me weeks of safety and kindness. You showed me that not all humans are afraid of what is different. That is more than I ever expected. But if you surrender to them, I know what will happen. But I also know what will happen to your people if I don't. I have seen what the Korthak do to those who defy them. Jake felt tears in his eyes. There has to be another way. Maybe there is, said a voice behind them. They turned to see Captain Park walking into the cargo bay with 2 Korthak soldiers behind her. The aliens were tall and thin with armor that made them look like metal insects. I've been thinking about what you said, Jake, Park continued, about protecting innocent people. And I've been thinking about what this young lady did for our station. One of the Korthak soldiers stepped forward. You will surrender the criminal to us now. Actually, Park said, I don't think I will. The Korthak soldiers raised their weapons, but Park held up her hand. You see, I've just sent a message to Colonial Defense Command. I told them about our guest here and about her skills as a navigator. I also told them about the intelligence she might have about Korthak fleet movements and supply routes. Jake looked at Zara in surprise. During their talks over the past weeks, she had mentioned seeing many Korthak ships during her escape, but he hadn't realized how important that information might be. Within the hour, Park continued, this station will be under the protection of the Colonial Defense Fleet. If you want this refugee, you'll have to go through them first. The Korthak soldier's eyes glowed with anger. You humans make a mistake. The Empire does not forget. The Empire does not forgive. Maybe not, Park said. But the Empire also knows better than to start a war with the Colonial Union over one refugee, especially when that refugee might have information that could help us defend ourselves. The Korthak soldiers left without another word, but Jake knew this wasn't over. The Empire would be back, and next time they might bring more ships. Zara looked up at Captain Park with wonder. Why did you help me? Park smiled for the first time since Jake had known her. Because Jake was right about one thing. Sometimes, protecting innocent people is more important than following rules. As they watched the Korthak ship leave through the cargo bay windows, Jake put his arm around Zara's shoulders. The real test was still coming. But for now, she was safe. And, more importantly, she was no longer alone. 6 hours after the Korthak ship left, Jake stood in the observation deck watching space for any sign of colonial defense ships. Zara was beside him, her large eyes fixed on the stars. Are you sure they will come? She asked quietly. Captain Park sent the message on a priority channel, Jake said. If Colonial Command received it, they'll send help. And if they don't receive it? Jake didn't answer. They both knew what would happen if the Korthak came back with more ships and no colonial fleet to stop them. Dr. Chen joined them at the window. How are you feeling, Zara? Scared, Zara admitted. But also something else. For the first time since my world died, I feel like I belong somewhere. You do belong here, Jake said firmly. Their conversation was interrupted by Captain Park's voice over the communication system. All personnel, be advised that we have multiple ships approaching. Colonial Defense Fleet vessels are entering our sector. Through the window they could see lights in the distance getting bigger. Soon 5 sleek colonial warships appeared, their white and blue markings clearly visible. The lead ship was twice the size of the Korthak vessel that had visited earlier. Jake, Zara, please report to the command center, Park's voice called. When they arrived, Park was talking to a woman on the main screen. The woman wore the uniform of a colonial admiral and had short gray hair and sharp eyes. "Admiral Sullivan," Park was saying, "thank you for responding so quickly." "Captain Park, your message was quite interesting. You say this refugee has intelligence about Korthak operations?" Park gestured for Zara to step forward. "Admiral, this is Zara. She escaped from her homeworld when the Korthak destroyed it." Admiral Sullivan studied Zara carefully. "Young lady, my intelligence officers tell me that any information you have about Korthak fleet movements could be very valuable to our war effort." Zara looked nervous but spoke clearly. "During my escape, I saw many Korthak ships. I remember their positions, their patrol routes, their supply convoys. I have a good memory for navigation details." "I see. And you're willing to share this information with us?" "Yes. The Korthak destroyed my world and killed my people. If my knowledge can help stop them from doing the same to others, I want to help." Admiral Sullivan nodded. "Captain Park, I'm granting this refugee temporary protected status. Under colonial law, she'll be transferred to one of my ships for debriefing." Jake stepped forward. "Admiral, with respect, Zara belongs here. This station is her home now. Mr. Morrison, I understand your concern, but this refugee has valuable intelligence. She needs to be properly debriefed by our experts." "She's not just a source of intelligence," Jake said. "She's a person. She's part of our community now." Captain Park spoke up. "Admiral, if I may, Zara has already proven her value to this station. She helped us rescue a lost ship and save 3 lives. We'd like to request that she be allowed to stay here as our official navigation specialist." Before Admiral Sullivan could respond, alarms started blaring throughout the station. The tactical display showed a new ship approaching fast. "It's the Korthak vessel," reported the communications officer. "They're back, and they're demanding we surrender the refugee. Immediately. Patch me through to that ship," Admiral Sullivan ordered. The screen split to show both Admiral Sullivan and the Korthak commander from earlier. The alien's yellow eyes burned with anger. "Admiral, you will order your ships to withdraw," the Korthak said. "The criminal we seek is not your concern." "Commander, the person you're referring to is now under the protection of the Colonial Union. You have no authority here. She is an enemy of the Korthak Empire. We will take her. Not while my ships are here, you won't." The Korthak commander's face twisted with rage. "Then you choose war." "No," Admiral Sullivan said calmly. "I choose to protect innocent people. If you want to start a war over one refugee, that's your choice." On the tactical display, Jake could see the Korthak ship moving toward the station. The colonial ships moved to intercept it. "Zara," Admiral Sullivan said, "I need you to tell me something quickly. During your escape, did you see anything about Korthak supply routes in this sector?" Zara closed her eyes for a moment, thinking. "Yes, they have a major supply depot 3 systems from here, hidden in a nebula. I saw the convoy routes when I was hiding in the cargo container. Can you show us exactly where?" "Yes, but I would need access to star charts and navigation computers." Admiral Sullivan smiled. "Captain Park, I think your request just became much more reasonable. Zara, how would you like to become the official navigation specialist for Kepler-7 station with full colonial citizenship?" Zara's eyes went wide. "You mean I can stay?" "You can stay." The battle outside was brief. The single Korthak ship was outnumbered 5-1. After a few warning shots from the colonial fleet, it retreated without firing back. The Korthak were many things, but they weren't stupid enough to start a war they couldn't win. Later that evening, Jake and Zara sat in the station's small garden area. Carlos had brought them both dinner, and Dr. Chen had given Zara a final medical checkup. Everything was normal and healthy. "I can't believe it's over," Zara said, looking at the official colonial citizenship papers Admiral Sullivan had given her. "It's not over," Jake said. "It's just beginning." "What do you mean?" Jake pointed to the papers Captain Park had shown them earlier. "The station is being expanded. We're going to build a refugee processing center here. Other people like You people who have lost their homes to war will come here for help. And you think I can help them? I know you can. You understand what they're going through better than anyone. Zara was quiet for a moment. Jake, I need to tell you something. When I first hid in that cargo container, I wanted to die. I had lost everything and everyone I loved. I thought there was no point in living. Jake felt a pain in his chest. What changed your mind? You did? When you found me, you could have turned me in. You could have saved yourself trouble, but instead, you gave me food and safety and kindness. You showed me that even when everything seems lost, there are still good people in the universe. Jake smiled. You saved me too, you know. How? Before I found you, I was just existing, going through the motions of life without really living. Taking care of you gave me a purpose again. It reminded me what it feels like to care about someone. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the stars through the garden's transparent dome. In the distance, the lights of the colonial fleet provided a sense of security Jake hadn't felt in years. Jake, Zara said finally. Yes? Thank you for making me part of your home. Thank you for letting me be part of yours. The next morning, Jake woke up to find Zara already working at his computer, studying star charts and planning navigation routes for incoming refugee ships. She looked up when she heard him moving. Good morning, Jake. I have so much work to do. Jake smiled and made coffee for both of them. Outside their window, construction crews were already beginning work on the new refugee center. In a few months, Kepler 7 would become a beacon of hope for people who had nowhere else to go. Just like Zara had been for him.